Okay, well, welcome to a new episode of Anime Review with yours truly, Punk here. Um, so today's anime, I wanted to talk about. Uh, it's on Funimation. I'm not quite sure if it's on Netflix yet, but it's on Funimation. But it's called The Vampire Bun. um, Sorry if the audio is too quiet. Um, but The Vampire Bun is a 12 episode series based on, well, vampires and werewolves. uh, okay. So, Dance in the Vampire Bun is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Nozomi Takamaki. The manga was stylized in Media Factory's manga. It is a 12 episode series. The genre is action, dark fantasy, psychological thriller. So if you're not really into those type of uh, um, genres, then it might not be for you. But uh, is it a good anime? Now this is where some of the reviews say no. Most of the reviews say the recommendation skip it. I don't skip things. Uh, I did not skip this. I stumbled upon this new vampire anime series, and it's actually pretty good. Um, Now, what they're saying, what they're just saying, they're saying that it's not good for an action anime or a vampire anime, and anime has nothing to say. I think that is a fucking big lie. Excuse my language, but uh, I gave it a watch, and what I got out of it was there was action, there was story, there was there was a plot, and it basically had uh, connections to different other uh, films and series uh, that have to do with vampires um, and werewolves. For example, Underworld, it had a lot of undertones with uh, you know vampires working alongside with werewolves, werewolves working alongside with vampires. Uh, you know, that's what I got out of it. Now, what others are saying, they're like, no, no, no. What the fuck were you watching? um, there's there's actually a pretty good similarity to Underworld, um, and I want to say it's just Underworld, because it was there was like one episode that had a few scenes that had like shape shifting. So shape shifting uh, is a little supernatural. Um, but the way they did their shape shifting, it was kind of like Terminator-ish. Like you know, for example, um, the scene where uh, the cop you know forms into like weird like weapons of metal liquid. And there was a scene in the Vampire Bun that sort of had a little bit Terminator feel to it. Um, Now that's what I got out of it. I was I was I wasn't I wasn't like not impressed. I was like, oh, oh, what would you look at that? But like I said, everyone has their opinions. Everyone has their thoughts and doubts on things, and they want to say it's not good. It maybe it wasn't good for them. Maybe they just didn't enjoy the psychological thriller. Maybe they didn't enjoy the dark fantasy and the action. But for me, I did. So, in my stance, I have to say this anime has something to say. It really does. Um, and the concept of this show, uh, it's pretty much about vampires trying to find a safe passage in living amongst humans in Tokyo or in Japan. And citizens in Japan are skeptic on if vampires are real or not. They're just like, no, vampires are fake. Vampires are not real. It's all make believe. And this young vampire queen is like, no, no, no. Vampires exist. I'm happy to create a safe passage, a safe area for them to live and to survive amongst the human beings, and not have to uh, you know freak out the human beings with the whole blood sucking thing, because it's kind of gross, you know. um, but you know, nevertheless, the story is about this young vampire princess, queen that is trying to create a safe area for vampires to coexist. And now the thing about werewolves and vampires, they don't get along. That's just something that goes back to all different types of vampire origin films and series. Werewolves aren't really great friends with the vampires. They usually attack each other based on like films such as Underworld uh, or Blade. Um, see, uh, but I want to say, there's really nothing wrong with this series. Um, Give it a watch for yourself. Make your own, um, you know, enjoyment out of it. And if you don't enjoy it, then you didn't enjoy it. But if you did enjoy it, you know, be grateful that you got an opportunity to watch something that's a little different. Um, but is it on Netflix? Netflix has been able to stream it, but it's originally featured on Funimation. So for anyone that has Funimation in all the different countries, you probably might be able to find it. Um, so, but uh, what else? What else? Um, there's hints of story between the protagonist and other characters, and yes, there is a little bit of love. There's a little bit of romance. So, I mean, it's 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 anime. But the plot follows the immersion or the emergency uh, of how humans are fearing both sides of of the world changing, and revolving, and the conflicts of trying to find peace uh, in hectic times, um, with, you know, vampires are real. You live with your next door neighbor could be a vampire. It's not something scary. And the cool thing about this a few of the episodes, um, is that the some vampires were fangless, which means that they removed their fangs so they didn't have to suck the blood of human beings, to let human beings feel a little bit less frightened and a little bit less, um, you know, scared of their scared of them. Yeah. Uh, okay. um, but nevertheless, it's good. It's good. I know. Uh, I know everyone else is probably gonna be like, no, 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 it's bad, it's bad. Well, I'll let them say what they're gonna say, but in my uh, in my stumbling upon enjoyment of watching different vampire uh, series, it's a little bit better than Vampire Night. Um, Even though a lot of people are like, "Oh, I've heard of Vampire Night." Well, Vampire Night's a little too Twilight-ish for me. It's a little too. Oh, that's another one. The Vampire Bun does have a little bit of Twilight theme to it, um, but I feel like Vampire Night has. I think that's more Twilight-ish. Um, the vampire Dance in the Vampire Bun is more of uh, underworld, underworld theme. So I know. Hey, I'm kind of just repeating myself there again. Um, but nevertheless, there's some scenes in which, um, if you're watching, there's a lot of references to flowers, references to um, a certain flower, which is the butterfly orchid. Um, I don't think that's what it's called, but basically, it's a flower that butterflies think it's a flower, and unfortunately, it's a flower, and a butterfly cannot pollinate or survive making love to a flower. And it just, uh, but there was a lot of references to a certain type of flower, and I for one, really wasn't caring. I was just more of like, I'm just curious if, you know, they're gonna, you know, be able to, you know, live in a peaceful society, amongst the human beings in this time era. So that was more of what I was hoping to get out of it, watching the series. Um, but you know, it there's a hmm, yeah. I really don't have really anything negative to say about it because I mean it wasn't bad. And even though a lot of the reviews that I'm reading and looking up on things just to refresh my memory here, they're just they're not uh, they're not really backing my case here, where they're like, "Oh yeah, it's a good series. It's a good series." I feel like I'm the only one that really just gives the underdog the thumbs up. Maybe this is just one of those anime series that it will it will pop up. You'll see it. You might be interested in watching it. Maybe not. Maybe not. But at least give it a try. At least give it a few episodes. And if after the third episode, if it didn't really captivate you, it didn't really pull you into the story, or you didn't really feel like it was entertaining, then you don't have to watch it. But I give the benefit of the doubt of giving The Dance and the Vampire Bun a recommendation of 4. So 4 out of 5 stars. So it's not a 5-star, amazing. It's a 4 because it had what I was looking for in the vampire series. It had story, it had action, it had a little bit of curiosity where it's like, ooh, I'm excited to see what happens in the next episode, you know. Um, but it nevertheless it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. But um, I just wanted to share my thoughts on this. Um, so uh, the um, main protagonist is Queen Mia Tempest, and she is a vampire ruler, and she is wanting to create uh, a peace between humans and vampires and werewolves. But the only thing is that who she has feelings for is a werewolf. And it's like vampires and werewolves, they just don't get along. I mean, take for example Twilight. Everyone was like, you can't stay with Jacob. You can't stay with the werewolf. No, you can't. You have to be with the Cullens or the wolves. And I was like, huh. But then, it was either you had to stay with Edward or you had to stay with Jacob. And, there was big battles, big action battles in that novel and that film series. But for the Japanese dance in the vampire bun, it was more of like, we're just trying to, you know, give the viewers the supernatural feel of fantasy creatures, of what would you know be a issue for vampires, other than besides human beings feeling very unweary of them. Well, you throw in werewolves, you know. So, and it's different from a restaurant to another world, which you know there's vampires in that series, and they're coexisting with other fantasy creatures, right? No werewolves. Anyway, I finished that series. Now I'm getting kind of ahead of myself. But nevertheless, the Dance in the Vampire Bun, it was really good. And in my reviews of watching anime, and and uh, and the manga is very short. You know, you can have a read on it if you want. It's up to you. I'm just saying. But um it's kind of hit or miss with a lot of vampire anime series, because there's really not a lot of them. Um, you know, now there's reference to other different fantasy and dark supernatural beings in most anime, but uh, you know, I think vampires get a bad rap. I support vampires. I do. Is that wrong of me to say? I support vampires. They get a bad rap just because they enjoy what, blood. Oh no, scary. Anyway, um, thank you, nevertheless, for listening to my anime series review on Dance in the Vampire Bun. Um, here on my channel. I am Popular Anime Punk, and it's been a privilege, like always. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll be back with another anime review in the next one. Until then, keep watching, keep reading, keep enjoying your hobbies, and have a good one. Peace. Gotta go. How?